In a person's life, there will be moments that will define who they are. Pretty much that will happen because of how they react to a certain situation, how they solve a problematic, and how tall they stand in the face of adversity. How they act and how they respond will define who they are. Such a moment has arrived for Marvel Comics author Ta-Nehisi Coates right now that in the latest Captain America issue, he is comparing Jordan Peterson to the Red Skull. Now, for me, this is such a moment for this guy because there is no other evidence of his bigotry, of his racism, and also of his, I would say, misplaced line of thought. But more than just that, this is an ideology that has all the impressions, all the characteristics, and all the symptoms of a very fascist point of view. And I am saying this because equating a person who has a different political leaning to yours, who tries to help people, who has different opinions, as a Yahtzee is completely messed up. And if it is not messed up, at least it is something that, in my opinion, doesn't really look any good. There are parodies out there, there is mockery, of course, but in this case, it is pretty evident that Ta-Nehisi Coates is not doing this to try to mock or parody, but to openly attack people who have very different opinions to his. Now, I believe that if we let such things stand, then it is going to be the end for all of us. We are not going to have anywhere else to go because they are going to come after all of us, and everyone that is guilty of wrong thinking, those are going to be taken down. And we already see it happening all around us. You look everywhere and you will find people that have gotten cancelled because they don't have a different, because they have a different opinion, because they don't have the same ideals, because their ideology is different. You get people that are labeled east and foes because they don't think the same as the people in power, pretty much the left, or the people that are being supported by big companies, which are the woke leftists and imbeciles that are, from the intersectionality side, from the Marxist side of things. And all these people, the only thing that they are doing is affecting more our liberties and destroying more our freedoms. Our rights do not get respected by these people and when these people are involved, and that is also what I see here with Coates comparing Peterson to the Red Skull. This took place on a panel that you have been looking at on your screens, in which, as you can see, the Red Skull is taken to, blogging, YouTube, right? Because it's what the alt-right people do. And the internet is their weapon, apparently. In this case, Red Skull, of course, like the good villain that he is using this to rally those radicalized individuals, all those in the alt-right, all those terrorist groups, to try and revolt against the established system. Now, that panel that you are seeing has there the sort of philosophy that the Red Skull lives by, according to this. And if you do not see any similarities to Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules for Life book, that was coincidentally also, if I remember correctly, illustrated by Ethan Van Sciver, well, you need to come out of your rock and see what is happening around you, because you can see pretty much here we have an example of what Coates is trying to tell us, that all those people, right, that are conservative, that are all those people that didn't vote for Biden, that are those that voted for Trump, that are those who think differently, well, those are the alt-right, those are the extremists, those are the racists, those are all the ists and foes that you can think of, and of course, the big Yahtzee thing. They are all Nazis, right? because there is no other way to describe these people, and also because the term doesn't mean something actually really bad. No, not anymore. In this current day and age, this term is thrown so lightly and so often that it's losing its meaning quite fast. Coates is a well known reporter, journalist, whatever you want to call it, that deals with political issues, and his vision is quite clear. He supports the likes of Black Lives Matter, and he supports these radical movements that allegedly try to empower black communities, but who are only out there to wreak havoc and to create uncertainty in our society. Coates has in the past been very vocal about what he thinks of the system when he equated also uh, first responders, police officers, and firefighters to assassins because he said that he didn't see them as individuals. He knew that they were going to hurt him and that they could take his life in any moment during the attacks of 9/11 almost 20 years ago, right? And of course, that which he said and how he attacked the system is contradicting now, of course, his vision, his idea in Captain America. Why? Because the Red Skull is trying to rally terrorist groups against the established system. I don't know if anyone understands how this works, and how comic books work as well, or how life works. But if you ask me, if you are so radicalized and if you think that the system is all wrong, why would you defend it? What the hell? Why do you defend something like that? It's completely stupid. And it is stupid because if Coates is saying and has been saying how the people in power are destroying society and that it's important to make statements, blah blah blah, all that crap. And now that the Red Skull is allegedly doing that, rallying people against Captain America, rallying people against the system, and he's now defending the system or siding with the system, what the hell? That is the question that I make. What the hell? Because it doesn't really make any sense. And of course, the Red Skull comes off as this Twitter weirdo or this YouTube weirdo that is super mega conservative, that thinks that most men have been emasculated by society, that most men have been deprived of real masculinity, that thinks that there is nothing toxic with masculinity, because that's how the woke crowds look at people when they don't think just like they do. And of course, what is the Red Skull doing? Well, he is providing the individuals with that chance, with the opportunity to retain and recover their manhood, pretty much. Basically speaking, what he's saying is, don't worry, I am going to give you the sword of manhood. I am going to make you men once more. America is not filled with men anymore. The conqueror is gone. Now America is just a caretaker and it takes care of nothing. And men have been deprived of real masculinity by the toxic weirdos, I suppose, right? So then in comes the Red Skull to save the day. This is complete bullcrap. It's idiotic. And it's, of course, once more a mockery of what many people have been saying, that there is a real problem with men when they are told that their masculinity is toxic, when in reality, real masculinity is not about being toxic, but about being protective and defend what you believe in and also protect those you love. That is masculinity. And they see this as toxic. Now you can see why that doesn't sit well with lots of people. It's the same narrative that we have been told over and over ad infinitum. Now, another thing is that one thing rather is that you disagree with someone and you call them names. That is a different thing. You can disagree with someone, but to call them names or to mock them, that is an entirely different thing, and it's quite messed up. And that's not the only thing that is happening here. Also, we see Coates' intolerance. He's an intolerant, bigoted bastard. Now, of course, Mr. Peterson is more of a gentleman than many of us YouTubers. We are rough around the edges, actually. And in the case of this Viking, it is also true. I am rather rough. And I speak my mind as I see. I do not hold anything, and I don't mince words many times. And I just think that Coates is a piece of shit, you know. He is a motherfucking bastard trying to paint a narrative and further it in under a certain light, and that light for me shines with intolerance, with bigotry, and it shines with scorn and also with, I don't even know how to say it, but I think that it feels and it looks like something that really like Jordan Peterson and his ideas robbed robbed Coates the wrong way, but in doing that, it has also created in Coates this notion, this idea that he has to fight this or something like that, and it feels stupid, it feels unnecessary, but also it feels mean-spirited, and it feels like a waste of time, like all of Marvel, if we are honest. I don't even know why I talk about comic books anymore, because it's not really something that lots of you guys want to know or listen about. But it is what it is, right? I think that these people are just going to understand and open their eyes the moment that their sales start hurting really bad. In the case of comic books, I feel that they are hurting. So I just hope that we soon see the end of this thing. Because people like Coates that got the job simply because of their skin color, we don't need that anymore. We need people that are hired based on merit. So, to Coates and his stupid way of thinking and how he attacks other people, the only thing that I have to say is, for our viewers, what I have to say is only this. Do not engage with these people. Do not go after them. Do not harass them. Do not give them what they want, which is an excuse to say that what they are thinking, what they believe in, what they do is true. Do not give them that pleasure. Do not let them have the right or the reason in this. Just ignore them. Do not pay attention to them and hurt them where it hurts them really much, which is their wallets. That's where we have to fight. Of course, in the end, you have the ultimate opinion and the ultimate say in the matter, but it would really help that we all get together and do not consume any of these products that are hurting other people, that are mocking other people, and they are doing it the wrong way. But it's important that we do not engage and that we do not mock and attack these people. We can continue our lives, and that will hurt them even more than anything that we have to say to them.